If you think shopping in the sale is bad, you should see Black Friday in the States. At this Walmart in Fort Worth, Texas, hunting for bargains soon descended into violence. As fights between shoppers erupted in the aisles, bystanders took pictures and videos. At one point, a security guard can be heard yelling to customers to get back. Black Friday is the biggest American shopping day of the year, held on the Friday after Thanksgiving. Pushing and shoving aside, Walmart reported record-breaking sales.
Hey, it's time to run out and get those Tickle Me Furbies, or I don't know what they're buying now. You know what this is? It's the Black Friday show, and we're doing it right now with Mark Boucher. Mark, welcome in, man.
Hey, what's going on, Scott?
Well, it is Black Friday. Everybody's, I think, probably slept off the turkey from yesterday. Thankful for that.
I know I have. Yeah, that's good.
Good deal. So we're going to step back in time a little bit and try to explain to the youngsters what Black Friday used to mean. I remember when you and I worked together years ago, the emergence of Cyber Monday, and all the nerds on the rows, you, would hit up Woot and
hey,
early.
Now. Well,
yeah.
All right, fine.
I'm expecting the whole country. The whole country is expecting the story. I built a robot that would shop for me. Of course, it exploded, and I'll let you tell the stories.
Black Friday was, as a teenager, did they even call it that back then? I'm trying to remember.
I don't think they did.
I mean, when did the term Black Friday come into existence? When did that become? I mean, maybe it was after the first death, in the atrium of a department store.
Right.
Maybe once the first trampling happened.
I think it's a term for the black ink for in the money. But
okay. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's aptly named, whatever the reason is why it's right. Called that. But it wasn't a huge thing. It wasn't the people camping out from Wednesday night to Friday morning, outside a Walmart so that they can get that whatever gadget or toy for their kid.
I remember that. I remember that vividly. I remember seeing it on the news. My mom and dad never did that. They would pick over the crap that was left over, I guess. But yeah, I remember it was on local news, and they would have news vans out there, and people would be in lawn chairs waiting for the stores to open at midnight, which is just gimmicky and dumb. But yeah, that was a deal, and that was a deal for like 20 years.
It was, and I mean there were deaths over it, which is simultaneously funny and sad at the same time.
I remember somebody. I remember it was an early CNN report where a woman was walking out with some big box of something, and her hair was messed up, and like her jacket was stolen. And I remember a dude that was bleeding one time on the news. Like they were getting at it over something, because you want to celebrate the birth of the Savior by beating somebody's ass for a teddy bear,
a Cabbage Patch Kid. Right. Yeah, that was early 80s, the Cabbage Patch Kids. I mean, Cabbage Patch Kids, I think, were the first thing I personally remember society going berserk over.
Right. Well, when I was a kid, well before the mania, I was at my Aunt Faye's house in Georgia. She lived in a suburb of Atlanta. And the Cabbage Patches are made in a town called Cleveland, Georgia, in the mountains, just north part of the state. And they've got a stupid hospital there, like where they adopt them. Like it's goofy. But I saw a Cabbage Patch Kid before Cabbage Patch Kids. Like it was an earlier version, a little more crude. They were handmade. And I remember seeing that ugly thing and thinking, that's not for me. I mean, I'm not a girl, but I don't know if that's going to do anything.
A prototype, if you will.
Right. And then a year later, people are like pulling the stuffings out of them, stretching them, trying to wrestle them away from somebody else. I looked it up last night. It was 83, 84. There were like Cabbage Patch riots. I remember in Oklahoma City, there was a news station, the CBS affiliate, Channel 9, would have not auctions, but they would have people call in because they would get one. And it was like it was a way to boost ratings for the news. They would say, all right, call in now and get one of these ugly dolls. And people were like jamming their fingers on their princess phones in the living room trying to get this thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And back then it was rotary phones. I mean, even during the Cabbage Patch era, it wasn't, I mean, some people had, remember this? See if you remember this. Some people had button phones, right? But they wouldn't make tones. Like you would hit the 8 and it would still click 8 times. Like you were still using a rotary phone, but it was buttons.
It was a couple of dollars cheaper every month on your bill to use rotary, even if you had a touch-tone phone.
That's
It
right.
would make that noise.
Right. Yep.
So I guess, the holdouts, those $2, they'll add up, man, every month.
I mean, so I used to dance to those clicks, so at least I got some fitness out of it.
I get it. Always with the fitness. So I remember stories of that doll. Like clerks would get in trouble for hiding them for their friends. Like they came in and they would have one.
I think that's a perk for working at that store. I think you should be able to do that.
Yeah, I agree. I would have, an enterprising kid now would buy them all when he walked in before they turned the open sign around and have them online.
Go and sell them on TikTok. Yeah, and make a killing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I remember it was newspaper head, like USA Today had a story about where there was like a heat map in the country where you could still find them. People taking road trips.
Man. For the Cabbage Patch Kids. And then Tickle Me Elmo was the next big one, unless there was one in between the two.
Well, that's coming. I got a list of them here. Yeah. So I remember that. And there was also the Atari Black Friday deal.
What was the deal?
What is the
deal? This was the Atari 2600?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the first one.
Yeah. So at Christmas, they would combine it with a cartridge. And so you would get, they said this high-tech space age, no high-tech space age piece of electronics should have wood grain.
Yeah. It kind of looked like the walls of a bathroom on a 1974 RV.
Right. And it was so cool. I mean, we've touched on that before, how groundbreaking Atari was.
Yeah.
You look at it and that's a wood grain. Like they had a clash there in the design studio, like the nerds that were doing the 8 bits and then the old guys with the pipe were like, nice, some wood grain, maybe some pinstriping on that deal. They slapped the top of it. We'll move some products.
Back then, that's what we knew. I mean, everybody had paneling on everything back then, wood paneling. And, the styling and the stylistic cues that the 2600 has reflect the times. I mean, we didn't have shiny things yet at that point.
That's a good point.
I mean, the shiny things kicked in around, the mid-90s in force.
Those, what are those shirts called that they'd wear to the clubs that would change color when it got hot?
Mushrooms?
You would touch it. No, that's what made regular shirts turn colors.
Okay, that's probably what I was remembering.
Yeah, when you would touch the shirt, hypercolor. Those hypercolor shirts brought in shiny things, I guess. I
don't remember that at all.
Really?
Yeah, I don't hypercolor. No, I don't. Yeah.
You guys are just busy tapping maple trees for syrup and churning butter up there.
Damn straight.
That doesn't sound bad, actually.
Maple butter.
Is that a thing?
Yeah.
It should be.
Yeah, it is.
I guess, you put it on pancakes?
Hell, you just eat it with a spoon while you're watching Star Wars.
Right. Right. So I guess it was different where, I was in the South, South Central in Oklahoma at that time. So college football is a big deal. I'd go out in the backyard and play ball with my brother. Like I said, leftover turkey. We'd let the malls settle down a little bit before we'd hit it in a couple of days later and just walk through the carnage like a battlefield and, pick up some bargains.
Yeah, it really did look like that. And that was also during the heyday of shopping malls too, which I do kind of miss. There's still some around, but they're, another 5 or 10 years, there won't be any left. But I do have fond memories of, I never actually did a Black Friday. I would usually go in the weekend after that once things had calmed down a little bit because I just hate crowds.
Right.
But I get why people would do it. I mean, if you're a parent with a kid that needs the Cabbage Patch Kid, then, by God, you're going to go stand in line for a day and a half to get it.
Well, a lot of that was a function of the times, like you said. In the 80s, there was a grid of, you would get your shipments in June or July. My dad was a manager at the largest freight company in America. And so he would tell me, like, in this late summer, he said, man, we're getting busy, because it was all the Christmas stuff getting piled up at stores.
Right.
And so it was, if the buyers guessed wrong, then they're stuck. Like, it's not like now where everything's drop shipped immediately out from, their computers.
Yep. No, there's definitely an art form to that. Yeah, that was an art.
Yeah. And it was a dance between the retailers, and, they enticed with, we're opening at midnight. We're open the day after Thanksgiving. And then poor kid, 17-year-old kid has to go in there at 11 and sweep up and get ready for, the PTA moms busting the doors. And so, but it was a song and dance, like, and sometimes it won. Stores did great. Sears was killing it before there was an online. That's what killed those dinosaurs, like just the convenience and the agility of these online retailers.
Yeah. And I can't think of a time when me or my wife or anybody I know actually went to a Black Friday in the last 10 years, to a brick and mortar store to do the shopping. It was all in that. And honestly, nowadays I do most of it on my phone.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No doubt. But when I was a kid, you would go in, and it always seemed like the dads would carry around the store flyer like it was legal documents. I have this, like, and so I'm entitled to this free toaster. Like, oh, all right, man. Just we'll be right there. Those circulars, like launch codes, they did not let those go.
No, and they were gospel. I mean, I remember, gosh, Sunday mornings. My two favorite things on Sunday mornings were the comics, and then all the ads. The ads for the places that sold computers and radios, and the radio. There would always be a Radio Shack flyer. Would always get that one, and that was required reading at my house on a Sunday morning. But do you have any specific memories of trampling somebody to death on a Friday after Thanksgiving?
I don't. I know that my parents leaned on the catalogs pretty hard too. I remember going to Walmart. It was an enormous Walmart in my little suburb in Oklahoma City, and it was a madhouse. You could usually get in and out, especially the locals who know the lay of the land, literally, like what's in there.
Yeah.
We could pop in and pop out, but I remember getting those catalogs. This is a weird one. I got a Court. Remember the Court guitar company?
No, I don't.
They were about the size of remember Harmony?
Yeah.
I think the
same
companies
size
were related. Yeah. I got an Eddie Van Halen mock. It was red with white stripes. Didn't have the black on it, but like randomed white stripes, enough not to get sued. And I saw that in the catalog, and I told Mick and Mary Herndon that this is non-negotiable. I got to have this year. And so I got it. And so out of a Sears catalog, I got that guitar and learned to play on that thing.
Oh man, what a great memory.
Yes, I got a Super Strat now. And I'd love to get one of those old original Kramers that, the people that do the mock-up Van Halen guitar. I'd love to have one. They're cool.
Yeah.
But I got that one. And it was probably, looking back, like 23 fret. It was a little smaller than a standard Strat, but I learned to play Eruption pretty poorly on it. So I was pretty proud of that.
Pretty poorly.
It's not good. But I still have, I got a house full of guitars now because of that purchase, and I cannot believe I got them to buy that for me.
But I bet you can play Smoke on the Water, and
I never learned Stairway. I was never a Zeppelin fan, but
good.
The older I
good,
yeah, to the relief of every music store guy.
Well, what's your song? You go to somebody's house and you're like, oh, you have a guitar, and they're like, do you play? And you're like, yeah, a little bit. And they're like, well, play us something. What do you play?
I'm gonna tell you something. If I have an electric guitar and it's got any kind of distortion at all on it. Oh, this is such a stupid, goofy song, but it is the most fun to play Pour Some Sugar on Me from Def Leppard. That solo is so fun to play.
Trying to remember how the solo goes.
Yeah, I thought that silence was about you about to hang up on me, but I it's a two-part. Colin and
Yeah, they did a lot of back and forth solos and harmony solos,
Steve Clark.
Yeah,
and so you just got to pick one and go. So they're both playing, and it's just so fun to play. But I guess that one. What's yours?
Okay, Sweet Home Alabama.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's an easy riff that makes non-musicians go, "Wow, you're good."
Until the solo, there's 3 guitars. Good luck. Do you remember your favorite Christmas gift?
Oh man, yes. It was a girder and panel construction set.
Here we go.
I would not be surprised if you have no idea what that was.
Right.
Girder and panel. Google it real quick. Girder and panel. It was a.
Remember what I said earlier?
It was a construction toy for kids where you could build skyscrapers, and it had the outside panels of the building, and then it had little plastic I-beams and steel girders that you could connect together. Yeah.
That is cool.
And it was, for a budding mad scientist like myself, that was the perfect gift. Yeah.
1979, Kenner.
Yeah, that tracks. Yeah.
Girder and panel building.
So I'd have been 9.
Here's a
panel.
I was
begging for it.
It was like Legos. This is a international airport set. Like you could build different things.
Yeah. So the one that I had was like a skyscraper. It was a taller, a city building.
I kind of want one. That's cool.
Yeah. Are you looking at it?
Yeah.
I mean, can you still get them, or is it like they're still making it?
No, this is eBay.
No, but you could buy old ones. Okay.
So I looked up. Actually, I cheated. I asked chat what the most popular Christmas toys from 1977 through 86.
Okay.
I went back. It's not just 80s here. It's Gen X, and that's certainly right in the heart there. So I had, let's see, 1, 2, 3. I had 4 of these. Long about 84, I kind of was out on my bike or playing football outside or something. And I wasn't a big toy guy, but
right.
1977, I didn't have any Star Wars action figures.
I never had any of those either. I was a big movie fan, but never had the action figures.
1978 is Simon.
I had one of those.
Yep. 79 is the Atari.
Yep.
1980 is a Rubik's Cube. That seems kind of cheap.
Yeah.
1981 is Legos and also handheld electronic games. And I wore out.
I had a few of those. Games. I had the classic football game.
I had head-to-head.
Yeah, head-to-head where you had the buttons on each side.
Yes, where somebody could play defense against you.
Yep. I had that. I had one of those.
Did you have that one? I hear the sound of the touchdown right now. I never bet them. Somebody was always... My brother was beating my ass at it, but I remember the sound.
Dude, I also had the green, I think it was Coleco, handheld football game.
Oh, I never had that. That's cool.
1982.
No,
Joy
that's the only one I had was head-to-head.
No, that was Joy. She was yelling for across the room. She had the baseball version of that.
And everything I found out about Joy makes me like her more.
Yeah. Same.
Like for no doubt. 1982 was BMX bike. I got one in 1982 and I tore the wheels up on that thing. I ran it so much. All right, very quick note this week. Since it's Thanksgiving, there's a special reel at the end of this episode to thank everyone involved with the success of the show. Be sure and stick around for that virtual pat on the back to some very deserving people. As always, if you enjoy the show, please forward it on to someone that you think may enjoy a look back and highlights of one of the greatest eras of this country. Be sure to hit up our socials. Keep sending the comments. We read them all. Man, I missed that little digital football game. All right, back to it. All right, finish this out. 1983 was a Cabbage Patch, then Transformers. Like I said, by this time I was out jumping the ramps on my 1982 bicycle. Teddy Ruxpin in 85 and Laser Tag in 86. I don't remember that at all.
You don't remember Laser Tag?
I remember going to the places to play it. You know what? I do remember little kids strapped in with that shooting each other at like parking lots and stuff.
Yeah, but the version that we had at home was cheap. And if you go somewhere and play professional laser tag, you got into like basically this little exoskeleton.
Right.
That was
you know why the ones you had was cheap?
Why?
Because your parents wouldn't go to Black Friday.
I think looking back, I think I'm better off for it.
They would go they would go to Kmart 2 weeks later when everything's picked in. You got a sweater that's too big and you got an off-brand Rubik's Cube that wouldn't spin properly.
Have you seen the guy? There's a guy that makes videos now where he juggles 3 Rubik's Cubes and solves all 3 of them while he's juggling them in like 30 seconds.
No, I want to see inside your brain. No, Mark, I haven't seen that. God.
Sorry, did I go off on a tangent?
No, you didn't, but you're tangent adjacent. You're about to.
Yes.
And I hear people across the country right now like, God dang it, this guy.
Dude, keep it on track.
I love it when he sits in. That's, you know what? I'm going to look it up tonight. This time tomorrow, I will have seen the dude solve a puzzle while juggling.
You got to see it. He's Asian. No big surprise there.
Kidding me.
He would juggle.
Really?
You're going to edit that out, aren't you?
I don't make promises, maybe.
And he's also...
what's wrong with that? I mean, what if he's Latvian? Like,
no, they can't do that.
You didn't say he was doing math while he was doing the.
Oh, come on. What's at the heart of a Rubik's Cube? It's math. You're doing math.
Yeah.
It is math. The Rubik's Cube is 3D math is what it is.
Well, I'll tell you what, and I hate to sound like an old man. I don't, by the way. I love sounding like an old man. But kids now need to see their parents taking a punch for a toy rather than like, hey, honey, get my purse. And when she's on the phone watching TV, ordering some crap from Amazon.
Yeah.
It's just, we used to be a proper nation. And now look what we got.
What's your prediction of what the Christmas shopping environment will be like in 10 years from now?
Well,
and then same question 50 years from now. What do you think?
I think that I've questioned this before. Like, how did before TikTok and before Facebook, how did people in Olympia, Washington go nuts over the same toy that a couple in Savannah, Georgia is looking for their kid the same toy? Like, how did that happen? Like, back then you had to really, really hit a nerve for the whole country to be united. Before there was instant communication through phones, but nobody's like hitting a phone book. I'm going to call everybody in Boston and make sure they know about this doll. Like, it was organic. And how did that happen before internet? Now, TikTok, you want to dump water on you to fix ALS or eat a Tide Pod, everybody's going to do it the next day. Everyone sees it. But I don't see how that happened organically.
Well, think about the differences in media between then and now. Back then we had 3 networks. And then in the late 80s, we had 4. Right? And the larger companies like Coleco and Mattel they had the budget to advertise the Cabbage Patch Kid, on all the episodes of Matlock. Right? And that was all we had. I mean, we had to get the screen entertainment that we have now. Back then we had 1 device and 3 options, and that was it. And so if you had the money to put your advertisements on one of those 3 options, the whole planet saw it. And that was all the whole planet was aware of.
Mark, what's the budget for those wacky wall walking spiders that would slide down a wall that every kid wanted?
The ones that were made out of that tacky rubber material?
Yes.
Wow.
I get your point. And that's how the big guys did it. And they would just assault Saturday morning cartoons with those commercials. And the Dallas on Friday nights for the parents to see it as well. But sometimes I don't know. It just seems like a fad would catch on or something. But to answer your question, I don't know. I think that it's going to become more segmented. I think that now, instead of commercials on TV, which terrestrial television's almost gone, And so I think it's going to have to be viral moments of people just out making the same pitch. But I guess to your point, that's kind of the same thing, just a different format.
Just different version of the same stuff.
Yeah. I have seen a resurgence of, the younger generation now seems like they value, what do they call it? Experiences over stuff to stack in a storage bin that they'll never look at. That's kind of cool. I'd rather have at the
Which
end of
is
my life,
good, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd rather have a photo album full of cool trips you've made with your wife,
Memories.
than a garden appliance you'll never use or a tool.
Yeah.
So I guess that's kind of cool. So maybe it'll be more focused on. I don't know. I don't have an answer.
I mean, there's absolutely no way to predict what the technology is going to be like in 50 years from now.
I think maybe with the rise of Etsy and people like searching for, I don't know, to slow down a little bit, maybe we'll see a return to some of that. I hope so. That would be good.
Well,
and
that
look,
happens. That happens. I mean, a lot of things are cyclical like that. Yeah.
Right. And look, I kind of knocked Black Friday, and it is funny. There are elements of it that were absurd. But I get the sentiment behind it. I get parents wanting to make a really special day for their kids. I mean, you remember going downstairs when you're really young and you see all that stuff, and it's like
you see the giant stack, the big pile of wrapped up boxes.
And you know full well that it happens somehow. As you get older, you realize your parents just went through the ringer to make that happen for you.
Yeah,
and that makes Black Friday. It makes it make sense. Yeah. I get it. And I get it for back then. You couldn't get anything you wanted delivered to you immediately back then. So you had to go out and take a punch for a doll. So what, man? Your kid's going to have a great Christmas.
Builds character, man.
I'm thankful for it, man. I remember those times, and you'll never, that's the thing about growing up, you'll never have that magic again as a kid. You can have it by giving of yourself and providing that for somebody else. But once it's gone, man, it's gone. And I hope people are striving for that again.
Whatever the Christmas environment brings year over year with the advancement of technology and the social norms changing and everything, I think the important thing is to keep friends and family in the focus and to, celebrate life and the good things that you have, no matter what your religious background is or whatever your ethnic background is. It's a time of year we got to put our aside, and we need to, break bread, have get together with friends you haven't seen in a while, and that's what it's all about.
No doubt.
And it's my favorite time of year for that reason. Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you, we have just finished my favorite holiday ever. I make the point that America is one of the few cultures in the world that literally takes a day off, stops everything they're doing to give thanks for what we have, and I'm all for it.
And to think it all started with a bunch of smallpox and tainted blankets.
I think it started with God. I think it started with some intrepid folks that were tired of getting shoved around by a king. They came over here and landed on a rock, ate some turkey, and built an empire. And once again, I'm all for it.
I am too, 1,000%.
Tell the wife happy Thanksgiving.
Will do.
And I guess yourself as well. Mark, thanks for sitting in, bud.
I enjoy it every time, Scott.
This was a good one. All right, Thanksgiving. And it is without question my favorite holiday of the year. One of the few cultures here in America that takes a day off to dwell on our blessings and give thanks for what we have. I think it's good to keep in mind that the poorest Americans are spectacularly wealthy compared to a huge majority of every human that's ever walked the earth throughout history. So it's appropriate to take the time today to thank everyone who's had a hand in the first year of the Free Nights and Weekends podcast. From an old high school buddy who sent me snapshots of our 8th grade yearbook that would be incorporated into the logo, and my buddy Chase in Oklahoma who gave me early encouragement to get this thing started, my siblings who got advanced copies of every early episode and told me what was terrible, most of it. I'm so thankful for every voice and inspiration I had in the concept and honestly the production of this podcast. From the first episode featuring a local legend educator, Miss Darlene Druckhammer, to new fans of the show. This thing has grown with the help of my buddy in Tennessee with years of radio experience that gave early feedback. Mark, Jednick, Adam, my guy Chad Goucher, Paul, Hunter, Eric, Johnny Bean TV, the guys at Fried Okla, my old college roommate Ace have all pitched in. Ace is a nickname. Rick Toops and Rob Price for providing the music. And a special nod to Greg Reeves, an old buddy from school that has become this show's stats guy and historian. I can't count the number of times he sent me notes about upcoming episodes with dates and specifics that have found their way into the show. Sincerely, everyone mentioned here has had a hand in the success of this podcast, or are partially to blame, depending on perspective. I'm sorry this part's a little long, but these are the closing credits to the first year of the podcast. A podcast that, frankly, would not be here today without some early inspiration from a guy named Eddie Wilson in Tennessee and the tireless work of Sweet Bean. Eddie helped me put the bones of this thing together very early on, and Bean, some call her Crescenda, put together the flowcharts and binders and back office stuff that made this thing much smoother than it should have been. If you're a fan of the show, she's a big part of things. All right, it's Black Friday. Let's go choke out somebody at Walmart for an $80 television. Get back in time for the dogs and tech. I think the Horns and Aggies play tonight, too. What a great time to be alive. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Here, look at this. This is what you're talking about.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yep.
Oh, I love that thing.
I know.
My one of my end zones was completely gone. Like it had been rubbed, like because just of wear in my pocket and a backpack, and like it. I wore this thing to a nut. I love this thing.
Yeah.
I still remember the pattern on how to score.
You do?
A rushing touchdown against my brother.
That's the one that I had.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that one?
Cool. Yeah. Didn't they blink?
They blinked
a lot.
Like
real. And it was like real thin, like an old calculator.
Yeah, kind of.
The characters.
All the players were like a little minus sign, and that was it.
Oh, same with head to head.
Right. I think it would.
Dude, I would whoop your butt right now at this. I want to get one.
The first electronic football games like these were for only one player.
End run.
But something was missing.
Can I play? Wait your turn.
Then along came head-to-head electronic football by Coleco.
Now we can play at the same time. I'm offense. I'm defense.
With head-to-head, you're really in the game. A power sweep. He fights through for the tackle. You pass. He blitzes. Intercepts.
This is real competition.
Why settle for a one-player game when you can have it all? Play alone, against the computer, or for real competition, play
head-to-head.
Why settle for less?